Morning, everyone, and welcome to the CX show with me, James Talk Sport. Today is the first episode, and we're going to be talking through the European Championships and looking ahead to the weekend's action. I'll kick things off with the men's elite race. The favourites were pretty much the whole Belgian team, and that's kind of what we got really. The Belgian team's plan was clearly to knock 10 bells out of each other and see who was left. Um, Other riders that got a good start was Joshua Dubot of France and Lars van der Haar of the Netherlands. But it was really the Belgians that were trying to kill each other, really. Eli Isevic was clearly on a bad day. He would struggle early on and ultimately finish in 12th, 3.5 minutes back. But the main men in Quentin Hermans and Van Tornout and Toonarts would get a gap very quickly on the rest of the riders. Quentin Hermans would then drop them on the climb up towards the VAMberg and the finish. Um, and it looked as though it was probably race over for the victory at least. Quentin Hermans was establishing a very good gap over Van Tornout and Toonarts, and although Van der Haar was closing that gap to the two Belgians, it looked as if he would have to go some to catch Quentin Hermans. That's what he did. However, it was an excellent showing of patience and control on a hilly course. He knew where he could push it, and he knew where he had to just sort of hold fire a bit. And Lars van der Haar caught Quentin Hermans on the penultimate lap and dropped him soon after as well, winning the race and claiming his second European title by 25 seconds over Quentin Hermans. Van Tornout was in third at 54. So really a tactical masterclass from Belgium, apart from the fact that they didn't get rid of Lars van der Haar. Joshua Dubot would have won the non-Belgian Dutch European Championships. He came home in 7th ahead of Joris Nieuwenhuis. Jacob Doragoni from Italy came in 9th, and a good result from Marcel Meisen, who finished in 15th as well. On to the women's race now, and this was sort of established quite early. Blanca Catavas, or Catablanca Vas, Lucinda Brand, and Yara Castelline were clearly the best three on the day. Alvarado was yo-yoing on and off the back. Betsema started okay, but then a crash ended her challenge at the end. 3 laps in, and Lucinda Brand went on the attack while the others went in the pits, and she was never seen again, taking a brilliant European title to add to her rainbow. Cata Blancavas was in second place, but nearly a minute down, and Castelline was an excellent third. Note as well, another French person, Helen Clausel, finished in 6th. Arzuffi and Perisco for Italy was rounded out the top 10 with Sanakant as well. On to the men's under 23 race, and this was seen as a battle between Pim Ronhaar, Thibaut Naes, Neil van der Putte, Ryan Camp, and even Cameron Mason from Great Britain as well. And Ronhaar tried to get a gap early. He got a gap with one of the Belgians very quickly. In fact, no, it was a Swiss, Roulier. But they were caught, and the Belgians then, similarly to the men's elite race, started just playing each other. Thibaut Naes seemed to be the only one sort of helping the other riders' chances if they would attack. Cameron Mason fell away towards the end. He admitted himself that he played it wrong, and it came down to a 4-up sprint. Joran Verschuur was the first to be dropped from that group on the cobbles. Ryan Camp led it out ahead of Niels van der Putte and Thibaut Naes, and that ultimately was the result. Ryan Camp took the win for the Netherlands ahead of Van der Putte and Thibaut Naes. On to another dominant Dutch performance at the women's under-23 event. Shirin van Anrooy, Puck Pieterse, Fen van Empel were in the top three, but they weren't alone the whole race. So Shirin van Anrooy would get a gap early. Puck Pieterse would have to come back following a crash on the first lap. Fen van Empel clearly wasn't on the best day, so she was looking to play the team role. The French duo of Fauconnet and Bakua, sorry about the pronunciations, would really mount a challenge for the Dutch girls. Certainly for the bronze medal, if not for the gold. Shirin van Anrooy would hold the gap to Puck Pieterse despite it coming down to 5-6 seconds at one point to take the win. Puck was in second and Van Empel was in third. A note as well for the British duo Millie Cousins and Josie Nelson rounding out the top 10 for us. Men's junior race obviously wasn't televised, so I didn't manage to catch it, but some noticeable performances from the Brit Oliver Ackers in 6th place for the 16-year-old, the Swiss Jan Christian, and the Italian Luca Paletti, who finished in 3rd place. But again, it was the Belgian and Dutch 1-2. Belgium took it this time, their only victory with Aaron Dock ahead of David Hubbardings. The women's junior race is the final event it was the first event, but the final event I'm going to cover, and it was a dominant performance from Zoe Backstead. We shouldn't really be surprised in that, because the only one that really could have challenged her was Leonie Benvelt, who was in 2nd place, over a minute back. So Zoe Backstead won, which is one of our first titles, and Benvelt was in 2nd with Nike Vink in 3rd place, over a minute and a half. Carnarvon's daughter, Cervais Carnarvon's daughter, I think, Mira Carnarvon, was in 7th place, and the Brits rounded out the top 10 yet again with McLean Howe, and Libby Bell in 10th. We don't have to wait very long for the next round of cyclocross races. On Thursday, we have the Telenet Super Prestige at Yarmark Cross, and then the Cyclocross International de la Solitaire in France as well. On the weekend, we have the Ethias Cross in Leuven. On Sunday, we have the World Cup in Tabor. A few other races in Czech and US and France as well. But the two main events are obviously in Leuven and in Tabor. I love the Tabor course. It's a fantastic course. So thank you for watching the CX show with me, James Talks Sport. Please remember to like and subscribe if you want, and leave a comment if you're enjoying this content that I have here. I'll see you next time on the CX show.